Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds, and we got a good show tonight. My guest had to reschedule for tonight due to some family issues going on, and she will be back on at a later date. But the show still must go on. So say hi to everybody in the chat. Hi, Sandy. Welcome in. Um, so Before we get into it, we do have a sponsor now. My good friend Charlie May and Andrew Baker are both gospel music singers. They had written a series of children's books, and they are friends of the show. They're kind of sponsoring the show now, and so we are going to play their commercial for them. I know you're going to say, "Hey, it's a little different because this is a paranormal podcast," but the children come first too. They're our future out there, so this is for them as well. These books are must have. They're be good for bedtime stories, birthday presents, Christmas presents, the library, schools. So we're gonna go ahead and play the video. At the end of the video, there's a QR code that will take you right to Charlie May's website where the books are listed, and his website is www.themusicnote.net. So be sure to check that out. They are doing an offer on these books also, so all five of them. So plus you get free music downloads also. So hey Jeanette, hey Brilliant, welcome in. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and play the commercial, then plug some events, and then we'll get right into the show.
I sing out loud, my voice lifts hearts. Tucker House proud when the music starts. Sawyer plays the keys, soul through sound. Carson's guitar shakes the ground. We're the dream team, and we love to sing. Tucker backs us up, he's such an amazing pup. He keeps the rhythm.
And there we go. So yeah, if you like some children's books, feel free to get a hold of them. They are also on Facebook too. Um, they both written this book along with Charlie May's granddaughter. She's the co-author of it. So yeah, definitely check it out. Um, so before we get into the show, we're going to plug a couple events. May 9th, Mother's Day, we will be in Toledo, Ohio at Mortuary Manor. My dad and I are the VIP guests. So get your VIP tickets, come out and investigate with us. Get a ticket for your mom for Mother's Day. Bring her out on her first paranormal investigation. There's general admission tickets, which is you get to go at your own pace, or the VIP tickets let you go with my dad and I and see how we investigate, see what mysteries we can uncover together. Especially if you're new to the paranormal field, definitely get VIP tickets. Come and learn from us. You get to investigate with cousins of Ed and Lorraine Warren, John Zaffis. So come on out and check out that event. It's going to be a good time. Um, check out Eclipse Paranormal on Eventbrite and look up Mortuary Manor, and you will find tickets. If you're going to get VIP tickets, get them fast because they will sell out quick. Um, so get them early and get them in so that way you don't miss out. There's also a down payment option, so you can put down payments on them. So you don't have to pay the full amount right away. So our next event that we're going to be at, we got a couple more that we're working on now. Two in August. We got one in September, which is the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. We are confirmed for that. We are going to be out there with Ken 10 Paranormal, who's running it. Teps Investigates. Uh, our good friend Aaron G. Thompson from 28 Days Haunted. He is the headliner and one of the speakers. I'm one of the speakers along with my dad out there. If come on out, listen to us, and if you want to learn about demonology, paranormal investigating for the residential stuff, learn about the Warrens Occult Museum, definitely come on out and talk to us. It's going to be an awesome time. We can't wait. And there's a whole crew of people that are going to be out there. My good friends Outlaw Paranormal will be there. Jen Jacobs, who's running our event May 9th. Hey, Amanda, welcome in. Um, and there's several other good people that are going to be out there, teams and vendors. I know my cousin's going to be out there with some stuff too, vending. So make sure you check out her booth. And she does a lot of 3D printing, so she's going to do some paranormal 3D printing stuff. So be sure to come out and check that out. Um, so we're going to go ahead and get into the show. Um, Tonight, we're going to be talking about two topics. Our first topic we are going to talk about is parapsychology, um, which is a big study in the field. If you've watched the TV show Most Haunted with Yvette Fielding and several of the other ones, there was a guy on there, Karen O'Keefe, who was a parapsychologist. And most of the parapsychologists, a lot of them are very skeptical in the paranormal field and what we do because to them there's other explanations like ESP, different psychic phenomenon, and all kinds of stuff and psychological stuff. So parapsychology is the study of an alleged psychic phenomenon, extra extrasensory perception, telepathy, teleportation, precognition, clairvoyance, psychokinesis, which, like my cousin Lorraine Warren, is clairvoyant. Um, so she can see things. She was able to see things. She can touch things and vision what happened. And telekinesis is also part of that psychotrometry and other paranormal claims. For example, those related to near-death experiences, which is another topic we're talking about tonight. Synchronicity, apparitional experiences, criticized as being a pseudoscience. The majority of the near-death experiences mainstream scientists reject it. Parapsychology has been criticized for continuing investigation despite being unable to prove reproducible evidence for the existence of any psychic phenomenon after more than a century of research. Parapsychology research rarely appears in mainstream scientific journals. A few niche journals publish most papers about parapsychology. Um, Hello, Julia. Welcome in. But parapsychology is actually an interesting field when it comes to that. The general information about parapsychology, parts of the series of alternative medicine, fringe medicine and science, acupressure, acupuncture, alkaline diet, anthroposophic medicine, applied kinesiology for research and enlightenment, and method biological terrain, COVID-19 is another. They're saying treatments camel, urine cancer, treatments charcoal cleanse, chiropractic treatments are all classifications of traditional medicine alternative diagnosis paras- in the parapsychology field. Terminology: the term parapsychology was coined in 1889 by philosopher Max Dossier as the German parapsychology. It was adopted by J.B. Rhine in the 1930s as a replacement for the term of physical research to indicate significant shift towards experimental methodology and academic discipline. The terms originate from the Greek meaning alongside the psychology. In parapsychology, PSI is unknown for the factor in extrasensory perception in psychokinesis experiences that is not explained by whom physical or biological mechanisms. The term is derived from PSI, the 23rd letter of the Greek alphabet, and the initial letter of the Greek, mind soul. The term was coined by biologist Bertold Wisner and first used by psychologist Robert Thallus in 1942, an article published in the British Journal of Psychology. Parapsychologists Association divides PSI into two main categories: PSI gamma for extrasensory perception and PSI kappa for psychokinesis. In the popular culture, PSI has become more and more synonymous and extraordinary psychic, mental, and psionic abilities and powers. Early psychophysical research: Henry Slade with Jonathan Carl Friedrich. In 1853, chemist Robert Hare conducted experiments with mediums and reported positive results. Other researchers, such as Frank Podmore, highlighted flaws in his experiments, such as lack of controls to prevent trickery, and conducted early experiments into table tipping, which you've seen them do table tipping on the show Most Haunted before. They've done the table tipping that dates way back to like the early 1800s. For 5 months in 1853, declared that the experiments a success, being a result of an early experiments in the table tipping. 5 months. For 5 months in 1853, declared the experiments a success, being a result of an eccentric force. Critics noted that the conditions were insufficient to prove trickery. For example, the sitters may have moved the table with their knees, and no experimenter is simultaneously watching above and below the table. The German astrophysicist Jonathan Carl Friedrich tested the medium Henry Slade in 1877. According to Zollner, some of the experiments were successful. However, flaws in the experiments were discovered, and critics have suggested that Slade was a fraud who performed trickery in the experiments. The Society for Psychical Research was founded in London in 1882. Its formation was the first systematic effort to organize scientists and scholars to investigate paranormal phenomenon. Early memberships include philosophers, scholars, scientists, educators, and politicians such as Henry Sedgwick, Arthur Balfour, William Crookes, Rufus Osgood Mason, and Nobel laureate Charles Richet, Henry Bergson, and Lloyd Raleigh, and philosopher C.D. Broad. Areas of the study included telepathy, hypnotism, Ryan-Box phenomenon, apparitions, hauntings, and physical aspects of spiritualism, such as table tipping, materialization, and apparition. In 1880s, the society investigated apparitional experiences and hallucinations in the same. Among the first important works was the two-volume publication in 1886, Phantasms of the Living, which was largely criticized by scholars. In 1894, the Census of Hallucinations was published, which sampled 17,000 people. Out of these, 1,684 persons admitted to having experienced a hallucination of an apparition. The SPR became the model for similar societies in other European countries and the United States during the 19th century. Hello, guys. Welcome in. Barbara, welcome in. Rebecca, welcome in. For you that are just joining us, we're talking about parapsychology and near death experiences tonight, which the parapsychology ties into what I was talking about last weekend with the stone tape theory. Early clairvoyance experiments were reported in 1884 by Charles Richet. Playing cards were enclosed in envelopes, and a subject was put under hypnosis to identify them. The subject was reported to have succeeded in a series of 133 trials, but the results dropped to the chance level when performed before a group of scientists in Cambridge. J.M. Pierce and E.C. Pickering reported a similar experiment in which they tested 36 subjects over 24,384 trials, which did not obtain above chance scores. In 1881, Eleanor Sedgwick revealed the fraudulent methods that spirit photographers such as Edward Isidore Bouguet and Frederick Hudson and William H. Mumler and utilized during the late 19th century. Many fraudulent mediums were exposed by SPR investigators. Largely due to the support of psychologist William James, the American Society for Psychical Research, ASPR, opened its doors in Boston in 1885, moving to New York City in 1905 under the leadership of James H. Heslop. Notable cases investigated by Walter Franklin Prince of the ASPR in the early 20th century included Pierre L.O.A. Keeler and Grant Amherst Mystery and Patience Worth. In the Rhine era, 1911, Stanford University became the first academic institution in the United States to study extrasensory perception, ESP, and psychokinesis in the laboratory setting. The effort was headed by psychologist John Edgar Hoover and funded by Thomas Welton. Stanford, brother of the university's founder, after conducting approximately 10,000 experiments, Hoover concluded that statistical treatments of the data failed to reveal any cause beyond chance. In 1930, Duke University became the second major U.S. academic institution to engage in the critical study of ESP and psychokinesis in a laboratory under the guidance of psychologist William McDougall and with the help of others in the department, including psychologist Carl Zenner, Joseph B. Rhine, and Louisa E. Rhine Laboratory. ESP experiments include using volunteers, subjects from undergraduate student body began, as opposed to the approaches the physical research which generally sought qualitative evidence for paranormal phenomenon. The experiments at the Duke University proffered and quantitative statistical approach using cards and dice as a consequence of ESP experiments at Duke. Standard laboratory procedures for testing of ESP were developed and adopted by interested researchers worldwide. George Estabrook conducted an ESP experiment using cards in 1927. Harvard students were used as subjects. Estabrook acted as the sender with the guesser in the adjoining room. Estabrook conducted a total of 2,300 trials. When Estabrook sent the subjects to a distant room with insulation, the scores dropped to chance level. Attempts to repeat the experiment also failed. Publication of J.B. Rhine's book, New Frontiers of the Mind, in 1937 brought laboratory's findings to a general public. In his book, Rhine popularized the word parapsychology, coined by psychologist Max Dossier over 40 years later to describe the research conducted at Duke. Rhine also founded an autonomous parapsychology laboratory within Duke. He started the Journal of Parapsychology, which he co-edited with McDougall. Early parapsychological research employed the use of Zener cards in experiments designed to test for the existence of telepathic communication or clairvoyance or precognitive perception. Ryan also, with associate Carl Zener, had developed a statistical system for testing for ESP that involved subjects guessing what symbol out of the five possible symbols would appear when going through a special deck of cards designed for this purpose. A percentage of correct guesses or hits significantly above 20% were perceived as higher than chance and indecisive of psychic ability. Ryan stated in his first book, Extrasensory Perception, that after 90,000 trials, he felt ESP is an actual and demonstrable occurrence. Irish medium parapsychologist Eileen J. Garrett was tested by Ryan at Duke University in 1933 with Zener cards. Ryan replaced certain symbols on the cards, sealed them in an envelope, and asked Garrett to guess their content. She performed poorly and later criticized the test by claiming the cards lacked a psychic energy called energy stimulus and that she could not perform clairvoyance to order. The parapsychologist Samuel Soule and his colleagues tested Garrett in May of 1937. Soule conducted most experiments in psychological laboratories at the University College London. Soule recorded over 12,000 guesses, but Garrett failed to produce above chance level. In his report, Soule wrote, "In the case of Mrs. Eileen Garrett, we failed to find the slightest confirmation of J.B. Ryan's remarkable claims. Relating to her alleged powers of extrasensory perception, not only did she fail when I took charge of the experiments, but she failed quality when four other carefully trained experimenters took my place. The parapsychology experiments at Duke evoked much criticism from academics and others who challenged the concepts and evidence of ESP. Many psychological departments attempted to retreat Ryan's experiments with failure. W. S. Cox, 1936, from Princeton University, with 132 subjects, produced 25,064 trials in playing cards ESP experiment. Cox concluded there is no evidence of extrasensory perception either in the average man or of the group invested in any particular individual of that group. The discrepancy between the results of those obtained by Ryan is either to uncontrollable factors in experimental procedure or to the different in the subjects. Four other psychological departments failed to replicate Ryan's results after thousands of cards runs. James Charles Cambrod failed to duplicate the results of the Ryan. So, illusionist Milbourne Christopher wrote years later that he felt there are at least a dozen ways a subject who is wished to cheat under the conditions Ryan described could be decisive, deceived the investigator. When Ryan took precautions in response to criticism of his methods, he failed to find the high-scoring subjects. Another criticism made by chemist Irving Langmuir, among others, was one of the selective reporting. Langmuir stated that Ryan did not report scores of subjects that he suspected were intentionally guessing wrong, and that this he felt biased and statistical results higher than they should have been. And then he used his research used dice, which subjects willing them to fall a certain way. Not only can dice be drilled, shaved, falsely numbered, and manipulated, but even straight dice even show bias in the long run. Casinos, for this reason, retire dice often, but at the Duke subjects continued to try the same effect with the same dice over long experimental runs. Not surprisingly, PK appeared at Duke and nowhere else. So, this is actually an interesting thing with the parapsychology. Um, check chat here. Hey, Kim, welcome in. Hey, Carol, welcome in. Hey, Cuz, welcome in. We're just talking about parapsychology tonight and near death experience. For the ones that are joining me, I did have a guest, but she had to reschedule, so she will be on at a later date. Um, and parapsychology, you see it somewhat in the paranormal field a little bit now, but not as much as it really. I mean, if you look at like the show Most Haunted, they would talk to that parapsychologist Karen O'Keefe. Um, and he would downplay a lot of their experiences that they were having on the show. They would do table tipping on the show, but even there, the cameras weren't showing under the table. Some universities, as of 2007, parapsychology was researched in some 30 countries, and some universities worldwide continue academic parapsychology programs. And I mean, like your kids too, you get that telekinesis with the poltergeist activity because of their hormones and stuff like that, especially teenage girls. We deal with a lot of that in the paranormal with residential with teenage girls because of that. Their the body's going through change and stuff like that, and they're getting more testosterone built up. Even with males, with their testosterone is starting to build, so they get that uh, stuff with parapsychology and their telekinesis and moving stuff and the poltergeist activity, which is part of like this telekinesis and be able to move objects, which is all a form of energy. Um, like telepathy transfers of information of thoughts or feelings between individuals by means of other than five classical senses. Precognition, perception of information about future places or events before they occur. Clairvoyance, obtaining information about places or events at remote locations by means of unknown to current science. Psychokinesis, the ability of the mind to influence matter, time, space, or energy by means unknown to current science. Near death experiences, an experience reported by a person who nearly died or who experienced clinical death and then revived. Reincarnation, the rebirth of a soul or other non physical aspects of human consciousness and a new physical body after death, which most religions, like if you were watching The Mariner of Spirit last night with Father Bob on there, like the Catholic religion doesn't believe in reincarnation. It's not in their belief system. Um, so, apparitional experiences, phenomena often attributed to ghosts, an encounter in places a deceased individual is thought to have frequented or an association with a person's former belongings. The definitions for the terms above may not reflect their mainstream usage nor the opinions of all parapsychologists and their critics. So, and according to Parapsychological Association, parapsychologists do not study all paranormal phenomenon, nor or are they concerned with astrology, UFOs, cryptozoology, paganism, vampires, alchemy, and witchcraft. So they don't parapsychology doesn't study that aspect of the field either, which most of your researchers of UFOs and the cryptids, they are doing that with, they believe that the cryptids are paranormal. So are the UFOs are fall in the same category as paranormal, but the parapsychologists do not study that aspect. They just study psychics and telekinesis and stuff like that, the stone tape theory. Um, oh, awesome, Julia. Yeah, we're going to be talking about near death. That's the next topic after parapsychology. Do you think that people doing remote viewing yields better results? Sometimes and sometimes not. For like me, with my abilities, I'd rather be at the location than doing it remote because I'd rather be there in the raw part of the energy where you can feel it more than being behind like a screen trying to pick up on stuff at a location. So for us, it's more being at that location than doing it. Um, and then our next topic, we are going to talk about NDEs. And this was a picture that somebody had drawn way back then of what they saw when they had their near death experience. That you go into the darkness and then you see a light. You see like a tunnel with a light in it, which is your way to heaven. And then when it's not your time, you're revived back to your body again. Now, my dad and I both had NDEs. Um, my NDE happened when I was 12 years old. I was sick with the flu and I was running a dangerous fever. We had just sat down to eat dinner and I felt like I was going to vomit. So I got up to head to the bathroom and the only thing I remember was waking up on the floor. I don't remember anything else. And my dad told me that my mom was giving me CPR, that I had passed away. But I wasn't gone for too long. I do remember seeing the darkness, but that's all I did see because I was brought back quick. And when I woke up, I was laying on my back. I remember going down face first and ripping the door handle off the closet in the hallway because we lived in a trailer, and I split my chin open. I woke up with a towel pressed against my chin. Spent 5 days in the hospital, and my dad's happened back in the '70s. He was in a GMC sports car convertible. Him and his buddy were on their way to work, and a drunk driver early in the morning blasted through a red light, T-boned him, collapsed the whole car. The engine was in my dad's lap, and he ended up getting an iron rock rake sticking in the back of his head. And he woke up in the hospital to nuns reading his last rites. The only thing he could hear was he ain't gonna make it. And he saw the darkness and then the white light and hovering above his body. And then he was brought back. It wasn't his time to go. And this happened before I was born. So, um, so that's kind of our near death experience stories. It that is an interesting topic. Do you think that having the NDE enhance it has, yeah, because we both have crossed over to that other side. So that kind of enhances it when you die and you're brought back. And I believe that we're brought back for a purpose. There is more work for us to do here. And for like my dad and I, we were brought back to help people in the paranormal. And so we had a lot more to do, so that's why the good Lord didn't take us up there yet. And that's what we continue to do. We continue to help people, and even with abilities, we work with them too. And because it is a scary feeling when you're outside of your body and you're looking over your body and you're headed up towards that light, and then you're not ready to go yet, and you're sent back down back into your body because your mind is the last thing that goes, and your hearing, even though your heart has stopped, your brain is still going yet before it runs out of oxygen and blood. So your hearing is still there, your brain activity is still there, and so that's even like when my mom passed away of cancer back in 2018. She when she passed away and we got back, we went to go get her dogs when I got the phone call, and hospice was here with her, and we got back, and only my dad and I seen this, and this was our sign because plus with our abilities as well, she went like this with her toes, and that was her way of saying goodbye to us. And me, nobody else saw that, just my dad and I, and that was for us. It was meant for us to see it, and she crossed over. So, and that's usually what happens. And her spirit still comes back from time to time to the house here. She still comes to visit. Um, Several people have been at my house. Team members have seen her. Um, she's been spotted with me on paranormal cases. We helped a client, and she had abilities, and she described my mom right to me. She said she was standing right next to you with her hand on your shoulder. So, um, so family members do come back, but we're gonna go ahead and get into the topic of near-death experiences. Um, they say it's like an automatic light, dark. I was in labor for 43 and a half hours. The doctors decided to give me an emergency C-section. They had to put me all the way out. I stopped breathing, and they had manually pumped my lungs until they got my son out of me. I couldn't walk for 2 days. I only seen, yeah, because you weren't gone for that long, so they brought you back right away. Um, my mom went through gallbladder surgery, and they lost her 3 times, and she stopped breathing, and they were able to bring her back. With you and your dad having an NDE experience, and both of you came back, you are both definitely helping families at some of the hardest moments of their lives. God bless you and your dad. Thank you, Carol. We appreciate that. And that's what we're in it for. We're in it to help people. We're not in it for the fame, the money, the fortune. I mean, yeah, all that's nice, and but our true passion is to help families, just like Ed and Lorraine did, and John Zaffis and everybody. We're just in it to help people. We're not in it for any of that. I mean, yeah, we're well known and we've got the mainstream celebrity status, but that's not what we're about. We're just us. We're not better than nobody. But and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to help families educate, teach. That's what we love to do, and that's our passion. That's what we're going to continue. That was the reason why we were brought back. This was our calling to do this, and um, and God knew too. We were with Ed and Lorraine Warren, and we had much to learn. So from them, and when I started investigating at 13 years old, I mean, I had my first paranormal experience at 6, and continued when I hit 13 to investigate, and that's what I've been going ever since. I mean, I'm pushing 32 years in this field now. It'll be coming up here in a couple months. I'll be at 32 years, and Beyond Life Paranormal Research will be running 20 years this year. So, and we're going to continue to do that. So, we're going to dive into this parapsychology. This is some info. It's kind of a short one that I found on Wikipedia for near death redirects here for the comics near death. NDE redirects here for other uses. See, a near death experience is profound personal experience associated with death or impending death, which researchers describe a near death experience as an NDE as having similar characteristics. When positive, most but not all reported experiences are, such experiences may as having encompass a variety of sensations, including detachment from the body, feelings of levitation, total serenity, security, warmth, joy, the experience of absolute desolation, review of major life events, the presence of a light, and seeing dead relatives. While there are common elements, people's experiences and their interpretations of these experiences generally reflect their cultural, philosophical, and religious beliefs. NDEs usually occur during a reversible clinical death. Explanations for NDEs vary from scientific to religious. Neuroscience research hypnotists that an NDE is a subjective phenomenon resulting from disturbed bodily multisensory integration that occurs during life-threatening events. Some transcendental and religious beliefs about an afterlife include descriptions similar to NDEs. Etymology, the equivalent French term for experience de mort imminente, experience of intimate death, was proposed by French psychologist and epidemiologist Victor Egger as a result of discussions in the 1890s among philosophers and psychologists concerning climber stories of the paranormal life review during the falls. In 1892, a series of subjective observations by workers falling from scaffolds, soldiers who suffered injuries, climbers who had fallen from heights, and other individuals who had come close to death, such as in near drownings and accidents, was reported by Albert Heim. This was also the first time the phenomenon was described as a clinical syndrome. In 1968, Celia Green published the analysis of 400 first-hand accounts of out-of-body experiences. This represented the first attempt to provide taxonomy of such experiments viewed simply as anomalous perceptual experiences or hallucinations. 1969, Swiss American psychiatrist and pioneer in near death studies Elizabeth Kubler Ross published her well known book on death and dying. What the dying have to teach doctors, nurses, clergy, and their own families. The term near death experience was used by John C. Lilly in 1972. The term was popular, popularized by the 1975 by the work of psychiatrist Raymond Moody, who used it as an umbrella term for out of body experiences (OBEs) and the paranormic life review, the light, the tunnel, the border. So that is a little bit what I found on near death. It's interesting when it comes to that with the NDEs. Sorry about that. I'm having equipment issues. So, but yeah, when you go out of your body like that, it's a strange feeling when you're having that experience. It's a little different, um, especially for like me when all I saw was dark and I didn't see the light because I wasn't gone that long to see the light because I was brought back by CPR by my mom. Um, but and I mean, but my dad, he did see the light. Hang on, guys, I'm having mic issues. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's doing that. Probably I'm talking about this stuff, but yeah, there went my mic again, guys. So I'm down to my computer mic. But yeah, it's an interesting field to study near death experience. There's a guy that we were at a Paracon last September, Bordertown Paracon. There was a guy who's doing a lot of studies on NDEs, which I'm going to try to get him on the show and we'll talk about that as well with the NDEs. So it's parapsychology. I thought about going into it and studying it some, because it is interesting. Because I mean, we do deal with. You figure going out and investigating the paranormal, especially like residential, we are dealing with some of that stuff, the telekinesis and people with NDEs, the poltergeist activity, with that stuff, and especially with the kids, the teenagers, and stuff like that, and they're dealing with that sort of stuff too. So, um, and I don't know if you guys ever seen. You remember Friday the 13th Part 6, where the girl had that, where she could use her mind to light matches, and the doctor was testing her to light matches, and she her dad was on the dock, and she got angry at her dad, and she was able to use her mind to wreck the dock, and he fell into the water and was never seen again. In the movie, she was able to use her mind and wrap Jason up in a wire or make there was a chandelier, make it smash them in the face and stuff like that. So that's similar what they're talking about with telekinesis is stuff like that, be able to move objects. Um, I've heard a few theories like they would use them, see if people could take their telekinesis powers and bend spoons, and then ESP transmitting thoughts to each other's minds to see what each other's thinking, um, which is pretty interesting. If you're connected with a person, you can be able to do that. But I could see also where they're talking about the trickery when it comes to that stuff, because look at your magicians when they do their premonition tricks and stuff on pieces of paper and stuff like that. They act like ESP and stuff like that. That and they have it all rigged up to mess with somebody's mind. So, I mean, I could see why some of their tests were inconclusive when it came to some of that. Um, so, if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them up in the chat. Um, and I mean, like our abilities, my dad and I we're both clairvoyant, like Lorraine is. I mean, we can physically see stuff like that. I mean, we can physically see physical human being spirit. And to us, they look just as plain as day, especially like me. I can see them, I can hear them. I do it at work all the time because the place I work at is haunted, and the one lady will feel a cold on her back, and there's this man that likes to mess with her, and I described him, and they got him on picture, and he'll stand there behind her, and he'll put his hands on her shoulders to freeze her out, and he does it all the time to her, and so it gets funny too, because I'll tell her, "Yep, he's right there beside you," because I'll see him. Your darker ones, we can see him too, as well. Even though they try to disguise, we can definitely tell when it's not a living person at one time. Um, so, but yeah, just to recap for anybody who just tuned in, we talked about parapsychology and near death experiences. Um, so, if you're new to it and not sure what an NDE, the near death experience is, it's when you pass away and your spirit leaves your body and you go to the other side and you're seeing a dark all the way around you, and then all of a sudden you see a white tunnel of light that opens up, which is a way to heaven, and then you're brought back. Can you read living people? I mean, what kind of person they are? Yeah, I've done it in the past. My dad definitely can. He can read people. That's why I let him do a lot of our client interviews, because a lot of times our clients are trying to hide stuff from us. So my dad's able to read through them and pick it out, and um, my dad can also future wise see what future, like yeah, I think it has something to do also with DNA together, being twins, because they were born same time. and they can do that. But yeah, Jeanette, we can read living people. That's why some psychics don't want nothing to do with my dad because of his energy, and they feel it, and it's overpowering to some psychics. We had one that even said to him, "I don't want no part of you," because of his energy was through the roof. She shook my hand, but I know how to tone mine down. I know how to shut mine off as well too, if I need to. I can block myself. A lot of psychic people can't read me either because I put up that wall, that block, and I don't let people in. I'll let them see what I want them to see, but that's it. Nobody will ever truly get inside of me to read me. So same with my dad, he's got that wall as well too. So and you have to have that, especially for what we do in the paranormal field. You have to know how to control that and shut it down because even with abilities, you can be really attacked and hurt by something. And it's like Father Bob was saying last night. Saying he was saying the exact same thing I am about it. With abilities, you have to be careful when you're in these haunted locations. When I meet you guys, I'll stay open. I shut mine down too. Yeah. See, I have to, especially on an investigation, because with me being the head one, the team lead, I have to stay kind of closed off so I'm not drained because I'm there to protect my team also and from getting hurt. And so I'll use them a little bit and then I'll shut them back off. Um, but yeah, it's even like my cousin's farmhouse. When we were there, we were setting up cameras, and the house is falling down. So we set up cameras around the outside overlooking the whole house. And I had stopped and was staring up at the third floor window. And he comes over to me. He goes, "You see something over there, up there?" I said, "Yeah, there's a woman standing there looking at us. She's wearing a white 1800s period dress. And she's just standing there looking out the window at us, trying to figure out what we're doing. She's not saying nothing." So he took a picture, and she showed up in his picture. And when we went to do the haunted movie theater, we dropped paperwork off to the owner, and I was standing there. We were talking to her, and I was watching behind her. And some of you may have heard me tell this story before, and there was a man standing behind her. And so when it came time to do the investigation there, she says, "Russell, I got to ask you, what did you see standing behind me? I know you were watching over my shoulder." I said, "There was a man standing in the doorway, looking at us, trying to figure out why we were here. And he had kind of like reddish hair, and he had it kind of parted on the one side. He wore glasses. He was in a 1920s attire." And she says, "You just described Frank Cello, the former manager of the movie theater." Hey, Grants, you're welcome in. Hey, Russell, how are you today? Hope all is well. I figured I was having internet issues. Didn't know you having issues as well, just listening. Yeah, for some reason my mic is acting up, so I'm using my computer mic. It does that when you talk about and I've noticed this does it to spirits in my house because my house is haunted. Um, if I don't acknowledge them, they'll start cutting my mic off on me, and when I acknowledge them, everything works fine. So, and in fact, my dad's seen one of the spirits that are in my house. He's seen a man the other night, and I think he's connected. It was either the man that got killed here in the tornado in '75, or it's connected with the land because this town is old. It goes all the way back to the Civil War era, and it's actually named after a Civil War general from Kentucky, John C. Breckinridge. So, and we have stuff from the Mormons here, and many, if you know the history of Missouri, up in Caldwell County, they had the Hans Mill Massacre. Ray County had the Ray County Battle of Crooked River Mormon Massacre. Um, so we deal with a lot of it. Yes, you definitely have yeah, I mean, Kara, we've been on video chats, and she's seen stuff roaming around my home. So she actually saw my mom one night too when we were video chatting. My mom was actually standing right behind me when I was sitting in the chair. So, um, but, and I mean, here they don't bother us. They just roam about the house freely. So far, we've had nothing bad. The first time we had, I'll cleanse this whole place out. So, but they don't bother us. We don't bother them. They just do their own thing. I mean, they don't throw anything or knock things off, or once in a while you'll see them, and that's about it. I've set up cameras in my house before. I know people say, "Oh, don't investigate your own house." Well, sometimes you get curious and you want to see what's in your house, which I have. I've set up a camera in my living room one night, a full spectrum camera, and caught a big round light anomaly come out of my mom's urn in about 3 o'clock in the morning and go to the kitchen. And then you see it come back and it heads right down the hallway, right to the bedroom. And that was her routine. She would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, have her coffee, and then she'd go back to bed. And that was her routine every morning. My mom was always up with the chickens. I always got her with that. I always say to her, "You're always up with the chickens. Half time you're up before the chickens even start crowing." So that was a little joke I always had with my mom. And even my grandmother, when she passed away in 2010 of cancer at her home, she hung around for a while. We must clean the house like they said on Practical Magic. If they really want to clean, they can grab my Swiffer. Yeah. If they can move stuff around, they need to pick up a mop or a broom. I tell them at work too. We'll do spirit box sessions at my job when we're like eating dinner and stuff like that, or taking a break. And there's a few times they told us to get to work, and there was one of them that said one night about working. "Yeah, I need to work," and I said, "You can do my work for me." And I said, "If you move a mop and start mopping the floor or sweeping the floor, I'm going to film that." And I even set my keys on the table. I said, "Here, you can have my keys too, and we'll just watch." But they never take you up on it. So, but yeah, it's this whole town I live in is all haunted. The school in the town here is haunted. I mean, I can tell you stories. I worked there for 5 years, and I mean, I've got endless stories of stuff I've experienced being up there by myself. And I mean, I've been up there all hours of the night. We've investigated the place, I think 3 times we've investigated that place. And I mean, it's got its residual, it's got its intelligent stuff too. Right? When a problem comes along, they can swift it good. Yeah. And I mean, one night I was up there during the summer waxing floors. I was waxing the main hallways, and uh, so I could have it done in one day. That way, staff come in and wouldn't interfere with us while I was up there. It was about 9 o'clock, and I was putting the last coat of wax on the floor, and I'm up on the second floor commons area hallway, and I see this black figure past the main hallway gate downstairs. Well, I ran down the stairs to catch him. There was no way it could get away from me that quick because I wasn't that far. I see the gym door open, and we just had the gym floor done, so nobody could get into the gym to walk across that floor because they would stick right to the gym floor finish. And I shined my light in there. There was nothing. There was no footprints into the gym floor finish, nothing. So I went back to work, kept waxing, started waxing the main hallway, and I got near the trophy case, and I hear something knock on the trophy case at me, and I said to him, "Okay, knock it off. You got my attention. I already seen you, so let me work." And then I didn't hear another peep out of it. But there was times I've been up there by myself, and I'd hear our kitchen staff get their voice, and nobody was supposed to be in the school but me. We were closed due to illness, and that was when COVID was running rampant. And I was up there disinfecting the building, airing it out because I had set off these disinfectant sprays in there. And I hear the voices of our cooks, and so I go downstairs to go tell him, "Hey, you can't be in here because I'm trying to air this building out. Kitchen's locked up tight." So I went up and reviewed the security cameras. Nobody came in the door. Nobody pulled in the parking lot. I couldn't debunk it. I couldn't explain it. I wish the former owner of my home would do the dishes because she likes to hang around the kitchen, right? Hey, Linda, welcome in. Yeah, she had a family emergency tonight, so she couldn't be on. So she's going to be on at a later date. So prayers to her and her family. I hope everything turns out okay. But another time I was up there by myself, and I was disinfecting the building again, and none of the teachers should have been in the building. And I heard what sounded our kindergarten teacher at the time on her cell phone in the main hallway. And I went downstairs to run her out. There was nobody. Watched security cameras again. Nobody came in. Nobody went out. Nobody came in the parking lot. So that place is interesting. It was built in 1909. There was a building there, a school there in the 1800s, but it had burnt down, and they rebuilt that one in 1909. And it's been remodeled. The gym used to be in the basement and stuff like that. When we investigated it, my dad actually watched a figure on camera on the third floor. We were sitting in the hallway on the third floor doing a spirit box session, and he seen a figure on the DVR camera standing over me. which I had already started working there already. Did you ever see a dark figure? Oh yeah, I've seen dark figures on cameras. I've caught them on night vision before. We use kind of like the grayish night vision. We don't use the green night vision, but yeah, we've seen them. If you go look up Ken 10 Paranormal on YouTube, the Return to the Glen House, fast forward to the end, you will see a dark figure on camera. When we were doing a cleansing to get rid of some dark there that was brought in there by another team. They were playing with a Ouija board in there, which wasn't allowed in this location, and they brought something dark in there, so we got rid of it, and you can actually see it on camera run right behind me. I have a cooking ghost friend named Tabathia around me at times. She would love to cook with your spirits. I usually smell her cinnamon. Oh, cool. But and then when we investigated that school too on our DVR camera, we actually captured the staff bathroom on the south end. Now, mind you, the south end of the building was built in the 1990s. So the bathroom door, we had it fully shut, and it's a metal door. And we had a DVR camera in the gym that was pointing at that doorway to the gym so it could see further out into that hallway. Well, we see fingers like this from the inside of the door pulling the door open from the inside of the restroom. And you never did see the figure, just the fingers coming through the outside of the door, pulling the door open. And there was always this mysterious loud bang. We could never find where it came from. We would set up Command Central down in the cafeteria, which is down in the basement, and my dad would sit there and watch the cameras. He had all the utensils in the kitchen moving back and forth and rattling. Other reports I've heard when my cousin worked there, they were closing up after a basketball game one night, and they had the lights off. They're in the main hallway, and they're staring at the gym, and they can hear a whole nother basketball game going on in there. Cheerleaders, people cheering, whistles, the scoreboard buzzers, everything in there. I've seen a dark figure standing up close behind my mother at her house. At the time, I didn't know what to do. I've since learned. Yeah, I mean, dark figures, they're one of the misunderstood entities in the paranormal because some are interpreted evil and others aren't. I mean, we're still trying to figure out that whole ordeal. Even scientists are with the shadow figures, what they are. I mean, the one my dad and I seen in that hotel didn't even bother us. It just stood in the doorway, looked at us, and then left. It didn't even bother us. Where they say like Hat Man and the cloak shadow figure with the red eyes, they say those are evil. Even a theory when I did a past episode on shadow figures, what if were wearing when they died, they were wearing all black? Maybe they were wearing a black hat, black shirt. They could have been wearing a black hoodie with the hood up when they died. So that's another theory to think about. Maybe it's something they wore when they died, so they became like your goth kids wearing all black. So you never know. I mean, some of the shadow figures we've encountered never done anything except for one. that we did in Oklahoma. That one was something demonic. That was a black demonic shadow figure. Because I've got the battle scars to prove that one. That thing ripped my arm open. And so, but yeah, a lot of them are misunderstood. I mean, there's like that one I seen in the school. I'm not the only one that saw it. My old boss, his wife saw it one night. I saw it one morning about 7 o'clock in the morning, standing on the second floor stairwell, looking across the gym at me. I went in early. Our power was out due to a thunderstorm we had, and I was working on the south end because the light was coming in through there, and the track kids had just left, so school was on a 2-hour delay because of the power. And I managed to get a picture of that figure standing on the stairs looking at me. The former principal there, she seen one day we were walking through the gym going to meet the sub bus driver. Hey, Richie, welcome in. And her and I both seen the stage curtain move, like somebody was behind it, like somebody was peeking through it. And she said to me, "Can you go up there and check? And if it's a kid running the class." So I rushed up there. There was nobody up there. I looked behind the back curtains along the wall. Nothing. There was no way the kid could have got past me either without getting caught. And I went to her and I said, "There's nobody up there." And she says to me, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, there was nobody up there." She says, "You saw that curtain move too, didn't you? Like somebody was peeking through it?" I said, "Yeah, I saw it." And I said, "That's not uncommon for the stage in that gym." I said, "You see all kinds of stuff in there." And there's stuff that still continues to happen in that school. Secretary won't stay there past dark. She does not like being in that building by herself. Anytime during, if I was leaving to go to lunch and it was just her and I there, I would have to let her know that I was leaving, and she would leave with me at the same time because she won't stay there by herself. She was in the office one day there by herself, and she had the door locked and something was rattling the door handle. She's been in that south bathroom, and the one old custodian, she thought it was him. He was up in the office with the superintendent, and it was mocking his voice. I feel that sensing whenever there are positive or negative is important. An apparition I saw through, I watched him walking, felt safe, later learned that he didn't know he was dead, eventually asked help to cross over. He said, "Okay." Oh, that's awesome. And I mean, we do have that power. Like Father Bob was saying last night, we do have that power to pray over them, to send them on their way. Shadow figures can talk, and they seem to come through portals. I've seen them almost my whole life. Most are just observing, only a few freak me out. My dorm mates and friends seen some of them. Same time I did. No way to debunk it. One talked to my dorm mate. I told that story and several others published in books now. Yeah, I believe they can talk. I mean, I believe they are kind of the spirit realm that can give us EVPs and talk through boxes and stuff like that. I mean, it's not uncommon for it. I mean, I like catching them. The camera I like catching them on better than night vision is the full spectrum camera, which is the ultraviolet camera. That's the best to catch them. Yeah, Richie's got an awesome picture of a old brothel that he went to, and he's got some figures inside the windows. I've actually seen the picture, and you can see the figures in the windows. That picture he's got is crazy, and leave it to a redneck pimp to be in a whorehouse. If you guys get a chance, check out my buddy Richie's podcast too. He's got a good podcast, and he dives into some mysteries too. He did a paranormal episode also. I was a guest on there. Um, it's called The King's Court on YouTube, and it's on Wednesday nights. Check it out. It's a pretty good podcast. I was on there one night. We were talking about a phoenix and the other one that rises from the phoenix that rises from the ashes and stuff like that. The Thunderbirds and stuff like that. The mysteries of them. Yeah, the windows in this picture. This house is kind of looks like an abandoned house with no windows busted out. So there's no glass to reflect anything on it. And yeah, he's got some spirits in the windows, and I pointed out a couple that he didn't even see in the windows there too. And so but about 9:30 we're gonna wrap up. My dad and I, we're gonna do another one tomorrow, so tune in tomorrow. My dad and I are both gonna be on together. I'll be back starting new season session Wednesday at 7. Awesome. Yeah, definitely check out the King's Court Wednesday at 7 and check out his podcast. And he dives into a lot of the mysteries and missing persons and stuff like that. Richie's also a comedian, stand-up comedian for the military and the veterans. So definitely check out his podcast. And he plays some of these funny videos. It's hilarious at some of the stuff he plays. So yeah, definitely check out his podcast as well. Thanks, Carol. Carol, I'm serious. You need to start your own podcast. You did an awesome job last night questioning us and Father Bob last night. So again, for you that tuned in late, we do have a sponsor now. What is the high pitch ringing you get that to translate to understand if spirit's trying to talk? Oh, I forget the name of it. You're welcome, Carol. For you ones that tuned in, we do have a sponsor now. We're gonna replay their commercial. If you got kids that are into reading books, children's books, my two buddies, Andrew Baker and Charlie May, they wrote a series of children's books, and Charlie's granddaughter Hannah, it's the books about her and Tucker, her dog, and she's the co-author of it. I will play the video at the end. There's a QR code. These books will make great gifts for your kids, for birthdays, Christmas, bedtime stories. They are running a special. You can buy all 5 books, plus you get free music downloads. They are both gospel music singers, so if you like gospel music, they do gospel country music. So I got one question here, and then we'll play that commercial. Oh, Russell, quick question. Russell, who was the U.S. Army vet you had on back when you would stream on the other channel you left. He was Special Forces. Oh, Terrence Pop. He has the Redonkulous podcast on YouTube. That's who I had on. Very awesome guy. Especially got to tell us about his time over in Iraq with some of the paranormal stuff he experienced. Gates around the spine that have some static. They aren't open. So I remember YouTube kept shutting him down, but I think that is when he would go political. That is why, yeah. He does a lot of political stuff on his podcast, but yeah, he's a former military veteran, Green Beret, Special Forces, Army Ranger. And he talks about, if you go back, it's on my YouTube channel, the episode, if you guys want to rewatch that and listen about his experiences over in Iraq with the paranormal. He was in that based in Saddam Hussein's prison that the U.S. military took over and converted into a military base. And that's where Saddam Hussein would take his high political American prisoners and torture them. And he was telling me stories about, they had a little kid come running through there one night. Where his bunk was where the acid vat, where they would put the bodies into the acid and stuff like that. Thank you. Yes, I went to follow his channel, but he is not mostly paranormal. That is what I tuned in for, because he goes more political stuff. Yeah, and that's why I had him on mind to talk about his paranormal experiences that he had going on. But we're going to see. I found a lady's podcast talking about this and wrote down the instructions to open gates. The gates follow the chakras. Yep. We're going to go ahead and play this commercial real quick, and then I'll be right back with you guys. Definitely check out these books. You get free music downloads when you purchase the books for your kids. Be good for grandkids as well. I'm going to throw this commercial up, and then I'll be right back with you guys again.
I sing out loud, my voice lifts hearts. Tucker House proud when the music starts. Sawyer plays the keys, soul through sound. Carson's guitar shakes the ground. We're the dream team, and we love to sing. Tucker backs us up, he's such an amazing pup. He keeps the rhythm.
And that is a commercial. So you YouTube bots, Facebook bots, if you're going to flag me for the music, I do have written permission to use the music that is written by Charlie May and Andrew Baker. Definitely check out those books. I made the video for the commercial for them. Yeah, Carol, we'll see you tomorrow night with my dad and I. Yeah, Granzer, YouTube. Go into the album that says podcasts. It should be in there. It's when I was still on Supernatural Inc. I moved all my Supernatural Inc. podcasts over to my YouTube channel when I left. So I went to look up his channel after you interviewed with him, but it was like 90% political, so I just subbed. Wanted to see if it changed gear. No, I don't think he's really much paranormal. He's more of the political type. Russell, like you, I would hope Terrence Pop would go get interviewed by Brent Thomas on his channel, Paranormal Portal. Yeah, I mean, I am booked for quite a few podcasts this year. I know we're booked all the way up to June for podcasts. Um, March 27th, my dad and I will be a guest on one together. Um, it's on All Access TV network. It's the External EX Paranormal Wolfpack Paranormal podcast. We're on that one. I'm scheduling another one and another one here in March also. And then I'm on one in, I believe, April, May, all the way to June. We are getting booked for several Paracons. In September, we are booked for West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. That is confirmed. Aaron G. Thompson from 28 Days Haunted will be the headliner this year. Awesome guy. He's also on my YouTube channel. I interviewed him on the show as well. Him and I actually got to meet face to face for the first time last year at Rock Island and got to actually talk. I'm one of the guest speakers with my dad there, so as well. There's several that are going to be there. Outlaw Paranormal, who are good friends of ours. Rachel DeMarco, Jen Jacobs, another friend of ours. And then Teps Investigates. Josh Morris, he's going to be there as well. He's a good friend of ours as well. And then several of the others. I know we are getting booked in August for Bordertown Paracon also. We're waiting to hear on Kansas City Paracon about being booked for that. I know October we're booked for Legends and Squatches in Indiana as well. We'll be there with our good friend, the Gnome, Brandon Cooper. And so come on out to that one. That one's going to be a good one. And we're waiting to hear, probably coming up soon, I'm waiting to hear from Kent. We're going to be booked at a mini Paracon at the Glen House, and us and Kent and Paranormal will be leading the paranormal investigation afterwards of the Glen House, and it hasn't been confirmed yet, so we're still waiting to hear on that. But with that being said, come also check us out May 9th in Toledo, Ohio. Make sure you get your VIP tickets. Come investigate with my dad and I, the cousins of the Warrens. And especially if you're new to the paranormal field, feel free to come out and get VIP tickets. Bring your mom for a Mother's Day present. Maybe she's into the paranormal, or maybe she wants to get into paranormal. Here's the perfect time to take her on her first paranormal investigation. You can get tickets on Eventbrite. If you look up Eclipse Paranormal on Eventbrite and look up Mortuary Manor, you will find all the ticket prices for general admission and for the VIP investigation. There is a payment option, so you can do a down payment on tickets so you don't have to pay it all up front. And we hope to see you all there. It's going to be a fun investigation. I know Jeanette's coming. And we're also going to be at Missouri State Penitentiary in June. We're going to go to the Get Haunted event out there they're doing this year, and we got some friends coming out, so we're going to investigate with. And yeah, Linda, yeah, he's confirmed for that too as well. Brandon is with us, so we're going to be out there as well. And there's quite a few big names that are going to be out there Because I noticed Brandon's starting to dive into the Bigfoot stuff, and I'm starting to dive into it a little bit. Especially after our Bigfoot experience in going to Gettysburg. So that was an interesting one. So, well, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap up for the night. Like I said, my dad and I will be on tomorrow night. So hop on tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we're gonna be talking about probably residential stuff and talking about the demonic stuff that we deal with and stuff like that, and wherever the night takes us. So definitely tune in tomorrow about 8 o'clock Central Time, and you'll be able to come pick our brains. All right, Richie, I'll check it. But yeah, we'll be on tomorrow night definitely to talk with you guys. And awesome. Thanks for sending them over, Richie. I'll pop them on the screen here. I'm going to download them right now, and everybody will be able to see. We'll see what people pick out of them. Yeah, Granzer, I'll be live here. We'll be live here tomorrow. You'll actually get to see my dad for the first time on a podcast with me. We're gonna try to start doing some more together. I'm gonna try to get him on as well. So before you go, I'm gonna show you Richie's pictures. This was a old brothel that they checked out, and in the windows, as you can see, there's no glass, and the bottom window here on the left and in the door, you can actually see two figures in there, and then there's one in the upstairs left window. This was when Richie was in Oregon, and this is an old former brothel, and as you can see now, it's been long since abandoned. This is the other side view. If you look bottom left window, there is another figure standing there. And then up where you see all the beams up towards the top up there, there's also one up in there looking out, which looks like it might have been an attic at one time. And that's what he actually caught broad daylight. So see, you don't really have to paranormal investigate in the dark. If you got like something like that in a dark area, you can capture them to show up. Even though they're made of light, that light passes through them, you could still capture something. So Tech had a lot of activities. Yeah, they had a lot of activity going on there, and now Paranormal Portal is on. Oh man, I think you may stream the same time Duke Sullivan, aka World Bigfoot Central, is on. That is his normal time. Yeah, we'll probably be on about 8, but we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap up. And so remember, if you're being bullied in the paranormal field, you do have a voice. Nobody's better than anybody in this field. And thanks, Misty. My friend Richie, he caught those when he was in Oregon. It's an old brothel. And so, with that being said, nobody's better than anybody in this field. We're all after the same common goals to prove the existence of life after death. So, with that being said, everybody have a good night. God bless, and we will see you all tomorrow night, same time, same channel. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe out there if you're investigating tonight. And we will see you tomorrow night with my dad and I. Have a good night, everyone.